Your
The human ship
defiance
Odyssey
ends
glided
here.
silently through the blackness
One
of space,
move, and
its
this
silver hull
battlefield will
reflecting
be
distant
your
starlight.
grave.
Inside, Captain Alina Reyes studied the view screen, her eyes scanning the alien world below. The planet shimmered in shades of emerald and violet, a planet unlike any human had ever seen. This was Lysera Prime, the homeworld of the Glathar, a species known throughout nearby star systems for their advanced technology, towering cities, and rigid social hierarchies. Alina's hand hovered over the control panel. "Prepare for orbital insertion," she ordered calmly. Her crew responded with precision, each movement careful, rehearsed. Humanity had never had first contact on such a level. Earth's diplomats had established messages with distant alien races, but no human had ever been invited to the court of a royal alien family. The crew felt tension ripple through the cabin. Lieutenant Malik, the ship's communications officer, leaned toward Alina. "Captain, are you sure about this? They've never chosen a human for anything. This could go wrong." Alina smiled faintly. "That's why they chose us, Malik. They want to see what makes humans different, and if we fail, we learn that's what humans do." The Odyssey descended through the atmosphere. Towers of crystal rose from the land, catching the sunlight in a way that made them seem alive. Energy fields shimmered around the palace that sat at the center of the capital. The ship's sensors detected thousands of moving shapes. Glathar nobles, attendants, and curious onlookers all gathered to witness what the humans might do. When they landed, the human crew was escorted out by two tall Glathar attendants. Their skin was pale blue, almost luminescent, and their eyes glowed softly in the dim palace light. Each movement was precise, each gesture controlled, giving the impression of beings used to total discipline. The humans tried to keep their composure, but the palace was overwhelming. They were led into a grand hall, the ceiling stretching impossibly high, adorned with crystalline chandeliers that radiated soft light. Floating platforms carried Glathar nobles through the air, their robes flowing and shifting in impossible patterns. The humans tried to look confident, but every step felt heavy under the weight of 1,000 gazes. Finally, at the far end of the hall, a figure descended from a golden platform. She was tall, elegant, and carried the presence of someone who commanded everything in the room. Queen Marin, ruler of the Glathar, had eyes that seemed to look straight through anyone who dared meet them. Beside her floated a small figure, no taller than a human child, Princess Lysera. But even small, she had an aura of curiosity and command, a presence that drew attention immediately. Alina stepped forward. She offered a respectful bow. "Your Majesty, Princess Lysera, I am Captain Alina Reyes of the United Earth Expedition. It is our honor to meet you." The Queen's eyes studied her closely. Then the unexpected happened. Princess Lysera raised her small hand, pointed directly at Alina, and said, clear and firm, "Mother, I want this one." The hall went silent. Every Glathar noble froze midair, their glowing eyes fixed on Alina. Murmurs rippled through the crowd, subtle but tense. Humans were not chosen lightly. They were observers at best in the eyes of the Glathar. Yet here the princess had made her choice. Alina froze for a fraction of a second. Then she smiled faintly, steadying herself. She knew this was the moment that could define human reputation across the stars. She took a deep breath. "I am honored, Princess Lysera," she said, keeping her tone respectful yet calm. Queen Marin's gaze narrowed. "Are you aware of what this choice means, my child?" she asked. Her voice carried the weight of authority that resonated through every corner of the hall. Lysera's small hand did not waver. "Yes, Mother, I wish to learn from her. I wish to see how she thinks. I wish to understand humans." The Queen's eyes shifted from her daughter to Alina. A pause hung heavy in the air, as if the walls themselves waited for the Queen's judgment. Finally, she spoke. "Very well. If this is your will, Princess, the human shall remain at the palace for observation and trials. She will be tested. If she succeeds, she may stay by your side. If she fails, she will be sent home." Alina nodded slowly. "I understand, Your Majesty. I will do my best." The princess smiled. It was a small gesture, but in it, there was warmth, curiosity, and a spark that suggested she genuinely wanted to know what made humans unique. The next hours were a whirlwind. Alina and her team were led through the palace, shown rooms filled with technology that seemed more magical than mechanical. Walls could shift to show different landscapes, floors could float, and energy streams lit the corridors like rivers of light. Yet despite all this, Princess Lysera's attention was fixed on Alina. She asked questions about Earth, about humanity's inventions, about human habits, and even about small personal stories. Alina answered each question patiently. She spoke of Earth's oceans, its forests, the way humans celebrate life, and the curiosity that drove them to explore space. The princess listened, eyes wide, occasionally laughing at the small, funny stories Alina shared. By evening, they arrived at the palace gardens, an enormous space suspended in zero gravity, with plants that floated gently and streams of light forming rivers. The princess took Alina's hand, tugging her gently. "Come, I want to show you something." Alina followed, careful to mimic the princess's movements through the weightless environment. Lysera led her to a small balcony overlooking the city. "This is my favorite view," she said softly. "You can see everything, yet it feels like nothing is watching." Alina nodded, letting the silence stretch. For the first time, she felt a connection, not just with the princess, but with the universe itself. She realized that humans, often underestimated, had something unique, the ability to see the big picture while valuing the small details. The way they combined logic with creativity, bravery with compassion, made them unpredictable and powerful. Suddenly, the quiet was broken by a sound, the palace's alarm system. Alina's heart skipped a beat. Security drones began moving in formations. Queen Marin's voice echoed through the garden. "Trials will begin tomorrow. You will be tested for intellect, courage, and adaptability. Only those who succeed may remain in my daughter's presence." Alina nodded. "Understood." But inside, she felt a spark of excitement. Humans thrived under challenge. Where others might panic, they adapted. Where others hesitated, they learned. The princess leaned closer. "I am glad you are here," she whispered. "I think you will surprise them all." Alina smiled. "And I think I might learn something from you too." As night fell over Lysera Prime, the palace glowed with a soft light, reflecting the stars above. The human crew watched in awe, realizing that this mission was not just about diplomacy. It was about showing the galaxy the true nature of humanity. One human, standing calmly amidst alien royalty, could shift perspectives across an entire civilization. And as Alina prepared for the trials ahead, she knew one thing clearly. Humans were underestimated, yes, but never weak. And in the strange, glittering palace of the Glathar, that truth was about to shine brighter than any alien technology. The next morning, Alina would face the first of many trials, an event that would test her intellect, courage, and ingenuity in ways no human had ever experienced. But for now, in the quiet of the palace gardens, she allowed herself a moment of calm. After all, she had been chosen by a princess. And humans, as history had shown, had a remarkable way of rising to challenges, turning impossible odds into unforgettable triumphs. The morning sun reflected off the crystalline towers of Lysera Prime, filling the palace with a soft, glowing light. Captain Alina Reyes woke early, her mind already racing with anticipation. Today was the day of the first trial, a test designed by the Glathar not just to measure strength, but to examine intellect, courage, and adaptability. Alina's crew watched as she prepared, offering quiet support. Lieutenant Malik approached. "Captain, you know this trial could be dangerous. Are you sure we're ready for what comes next?" Alina smiled faintly. "Malik, humans are nothing if not adaptable. We have faced impossible odds before, and we always find a way. Today is no different." The humans were escorted into the palace's grand arena, a massive structure suspended in midair by invisible energy fields. The arena was designed to test not only the mind, but the physical coordination of anyone who entered. The floor was a shifting grid of energy panels, changing patterns every few seconds. The walls displayed holographic puzzles that glowed with symbols no human had ever seen. Queen Marin's voice echoed through the arena. "Captain Alina Reyes, your first trial will begin. Solve the puzzle before you, navigate the shifting floor, and retrieve the crystal of harmony from the center of the arena. Fail, and you may not continue in the princess's presence." Alina studied the floor and the symbols, taking a slow breath. The other competitors in the past had failed quickly. Many were brilliant aliens who had trained for years, yet humans were different. Humans combined creativity, courage, and intuition in ways even the Glathar did not fully understand. With careful steps, Alina moved onto the shifting floor. Panels shifted under her feet, forcing her to adapt continuously. At the same time, the symbols on the walls formed a complex pattern that needed decoding. The Glathar would have solved it logically, but Alina approached it like a human, recognizing patterns, thinking of possible solutions, and improvising where rules seemed unclear. Minutes passed. Some of the panels shifted so suddenly that Alina nearly fell, but she maintained balance by anticipating the movements, adjusting her weight instinctively. Sweat dotted her forehead, but her eyes remained focused. Finally, she reached the central platform where the crystal of harmony floated, suspended by an energy field. Alina studied the crystal. It was guarded by an intricate force field pulsing with alien energy. No brute force would work. Humans had another advantage: ingenuity. She observed the pattern of the energy pulses, noticing a small rhythm. Timing her movements carefully, she slipped through the pulses like a dancer. With a final step, she grasped the crystal. The energy field dissipated at her touch. The arena's lights flashed, signaling success. Princess Lysera clapped softly, her eyes wide with admiration. "You did it! You are different from anyone I have ever seen." But there was no time to celebrate. Queen Marin's voice cut through the arena. "Well done. But the trials have only begun. Next, you will demonstrate courage. You will face the labyrinth of shadows, a test of bravery and quick thinking." The labyrinth was unlike anything humans had imagined. Dark walls seemed alive, twisting and shifting. The air was thick with fog, and the path ahead was uncertain. Many competitors had become lost, paralyzed by fear or indecision. Alina, however, felt a familiar resolve. Fear did not control humans, they faced it and adapted. She entered the labyrinth cautiously, scanning every shadow. Strange creatures, though harmless, slithered and floated through the corridors. The labyrinth tested more than courage. It tested perception, reaction, and ingenuity. At several points, Alina encountered corridors that looped endlessly. She used simple logic, marking her path with a small device that left a trail of light, ensuring she would not become trapped. At one point, a bridge appeared to collapse beneath her. Instead of panicking, she observed the pattern of the bridge's movements. Using timing and balance, she crossed safely. Every step was a lesson in human persistence. Finally, she reached the heart of the labyrinth, where a small pedestal held a glowing orb. Grasping it, Alina felt a pulse of energy, as if the labyrinth itself acknowledged her bravery. She emerged into the open courtyard of the palace, greeted by the soft clapping of the Glathar observers. Even the most skeptical nobles could not hide their surprise. Princess Lysera ran to her side, eyes sparkling. "You are amazing. Humans, you are full of surprises." Alina laughed softly. "I could say the same about you, Princess. You are brave, clever, and not afraid to make choices others would not dare." The next trial was even more unexpected. Queen Marin led Alina and her team to a chamber where multiple alien factions were gathered. They were tasked with negotiating peace between two rival Glathar houses. The situation was tense. Centuries of rivalry and pride had created hostility. Alina observed carefully. The aliens spoke in a mix of logic and tradition, rarely acknowledging emotion as a factor. Humans, however, often relied on empathy and understanding. Alina listened to both sides, noting not only what they said, but why they said it. She identified fears and concerns that even the rival leaders had not clearly expressed. With calm words, she addressed both houses. "Your traditions are important, but you share the same future. The path ahead does not require sacrificing honor. It requires understanding. Together, you can create a stronger house than either could alone." The alien nobles exchanged glances. Slowly, nods replaced frowns. The tensions eased, and the room filled with murmurs of approval. Humans, with their empathy and insight, had achieved what the Glathar considered impossible. Princess Lysera watched Alina closely. "You see the world differently," she said. "You understand things we sometimes ignore. That is why I chose you." Alina smiled, touched by the child's words. "And that is why humans explore. We seek understanding, and we find solutions where others only see problems." As the day progressed, Alina faced one final test, a life-threatening anomaly in the palace's energy core. The core had begun to destabilize, creating violent energy surges that threatened the entire palace. The Glathar engineers had been unable to stabilize it. Humans, they assumed, would fail as well. Alina assessed the situation. She could see the patterns in the surges, the rise and fall of energy, and noticed a connection the Glathar had overlooked, a way to synchronize the energy pulses with a secondary system to stabilize the core. "Captain," Malik said nervously, "this could be dangerous." Are you sure? Elena nodded. Humans are good at solving impossible problems. We just need to think differently. She carefully moved through the core chamber, following the patterns she had observed. With precise timing and understanding of the energy flow, she connected the secondary system. Sparks flew, alarms blared, and for a tense moment it seemed the system might fail. Then the energy stabilized. The palace lights brightened and the surges ceased. The Glathar court erupted in astonished applause. Even Queen Marin looked impressed. Incredible, she murmured. No human has ever done something like this. Princess Lysera ran to Elena's side, beaming. You saved the palace. You are amazing. Elena knelt slightly to meet the princess's gaze. We humans have always survived by using our minds, hearts, and courage. That is what makes us human. By the end of the day, the trials had concluded. The Glathar court convened to review Elena's performance. Every obstacle had been overcome, through intelligence, bravery, creativity, and understanding. The humans had proven that even in a universe of more advanced beings, they possessed qualities no alien could replicate. Queen Marin approached Elena. You have succeeded in every trial. You have demonstrated intellect, courage, and insight beyond expectation. It seems humans are more than what we imagined. Elena nodded respectfully. Thank you, Your Majesty. It was an honor to participate. Princess Lysera tugged gently on Elena's sleeve. I told you I wanted her. I knew she would surprise you all. Humans are remarkable. Elena smiled, realizing that this was only the beginning. Humanity had survived countless trials on Earth, and now, in the stars, they were proving themselves once more. The Glathar had underestimated them, as many species did. But humans had a unique combination of curiosity, courage, and ingenuity. They thrived where others would falter. As the sun set over Lysera Prime, Elena looked at the horizon. Beyond the towers and the gardens, stars stretched into infinity. She knew there would be more challenges ahead, more trials to face, and more opportunities to show humanity's true strength. But for now, humans had made their mark. Princess Lysera took Elena's hand. Tomorrow, we will begin your next lessons. There is much for you to learn and much for you to teach. Elena smiled softly. Then we will learn and teach together. Humans never stop exploring, Princess. That is who we are. In the quiet of the palace gardens, under alien stars and floating lights, humanity's resilience shone brighter than ever. The galaxy had underestimated them, but Elena knew one truth. Humans were unpredictable, resourceful, and courageous. And in that unpredictability lay their greatest strength. The trials were over, but the journey had just begun. And somewhere deep inside, Elena felt a spark of excitement. Because humans, she thought, always rise to challenges, and sometimes they change the universe in the process. The next morning, the palace of Lysera Prime buzzed with anticipation. Word of Captain Elena Reyes' extraordinary performance in the trials had spread quickly throughout the Glathar court. Nobles whispered, some with admiration, some with suspicion. Never before had a human impressed the royal family so profoundly, especially a child like Princess Lysera. Elena walked through the palace halls with quiet determination. Her crew followed, their expressions a mixture of pride and nervousness. Today's challenge would be the greatest yet, a final trial set by Queen Marin herself. It would test not only intellect and courage, but the ability to face the unknown and make life-or-death decisions. Queen Marin waited in the central chamber, her presence commanding attention. Captain Reyes, she said, her voice calm but firm, the final trial begins. Beyond these walls lies a cosmic anomaly, a rift in space near Lysera Prime. It threatens the planet's safety. Your task is to stabilize it. You may use the palace systems, but the solution must come from your own understanding. Do this, and you will have proven the worth of humanity. Elena's eyes widened slightly at the scale of the challenge. A cosmic anomaly was a force that even the Glathar, with their advanced technology, struggled to control. Yet she felt no fear, only determination. Humans had a unique ability to think differently, to adapt and innovate when faced with the impossible. She nodded. Understood, Your Majesty. We will do our best. The team entered the observation chamber overlooking the anomaly. Outside, the rift swirled violently, tendrils of energy stretching across space like living lightning. Glathar engineers were already struggling, their technology faltering against the unpredictable force. Elena stepped forward, studying the data streams projected in front of her. She noticed subtle patterns that the Glathar had overlooked. oscillations in the energy pulses, faint signals that suggested a way to synchronize the rift's energy with the planet's stabilizers. Humans often saw solutions where others saw chaos, and Alina's mind raced with possibilities. Malik, she said, we need to integrate our systems with theirs, but more importantly, we need to think of this not as a machine problem, but as a dynamic system. The rift isn't static, it's reacting. We must act in rhythm with it. Lieutenant Malik nodded, adjusting the controls. I see it, Captain. The rift pulses in intervals. If we match the timing, we might stabilize it. Alina smiled. Exactly. Trust me, humans have a way of turning chaos into opportunity. Working quickly, Alina coordinated with the palace engineers. Her human intuition guided her decisions, combining logic, timing, and a sense of rhythm. She instructed the engineers to adjust the stabilizers, not just to brute force the rift, but to flow with it. Each pulse was carefully countered, each fluctuation carefully anticipated. The anomaly surged violently, a massive spike of energy threatening to overwhelm the chamber's shields. Alarms blared and the Glathar engineers froze, unsure how to respond. Alina, however, remained calm. She focused on the subtle variations in the rift's behavior, instructing precise adjustments with split-second timing. Sweat dripped from her forehead, but she did not falter. Finally, with a pulse of coordinated energy, the rift began to stabilize. The wild surges slowed, the tendrils of energy pulled back, and the anomaly's chaotic movements became rhythmic. Princess Lysera's eyes widened with awe. You did it, you controlled it. Alina exhaled, her heart still racing. We guided it, Princess. The rift wasn't an enemy, it was a challenge. And humans, we have a way of rising to challenges. The chamber erupted in applause. Even the skeptical nobles could not hide their astonishment. Queen Marin stepped forward, her expression a mixture of pride and respect. Captain Reyes, she said, her voice strong and commanding, you have accomplished what no human or Glathar has done. You have not only stabilized the anomaly, but demonstrated creativity, courage, and adaptability. Truly, humans are remarkable. Alina bowed respectfully. Thank you, Your Majesty. Humanity has always faced impossible odds, and we always find a way. That is who we are. Princess Lysera ran to Alina, throwing her small arms around her. I knew you were special. I chose you because I could see it. Humans, you are amazing. Alina laughed softly. And you, Princess, are wise beyond your years. You see potential where others see weakness. That is a rare gift. The Queen turned to the court. Let it be known, she declared, that humanity is a species worthy of respect. Captain Alina Reyes has proven that humans possess qualities no other race can match. Courage, ingenuity, and empathy. From this day forward, humans shall be honored as allies, not merely observers. The announcement echoed through the palace, and the humans in the room felt a wave of pride. Earth had always been underestimated by the galaxy, but now, through one human's courage and intelligence, the perception of humanity had changed forever. In the days that followed, Alina remained in the palace, teaching and learning alongside Princess Lysera. They explored the floating gardens, navigated zero-gravity corridors, and shared stories of Earth and Lysera Prime. Every day, the princess asked questions about human ingenuity, and Alina shared tales of exploration, science, and resilience. One afternoon, as they walked through the palace observatory, Lysera asked softly, Captain, why do humans never give up even when the odds seem impossible? Alina thought for a moment, watching the stars swirl in the distance. Because we believe in each other. We adapt, we learn, and we try again. Every challenge is an opportunity, every failure a lesson. Humans survive because we never stop looking for solutions, and we never stop believing in what we can do. The princess nodded thoughtfully. I want to be like that, to see possibilities even when others cannot. Alina smiled. You already are, Princess. You saw something in me that others could not see. That is why humans and Lysera Prime can work together. Curiosity and courage, that is how progress is made. Word of Alina's achievements reached beyond the palace. Aliens from neighboring systems sent envoys to congratulate her, and humans on Earth followed the story through interstellar broadcasts. Humanity was no longer just observers in the galaxy. They were respected, admired, and capable of feats once thought impossible. Alina knew that this was only the beginning. Humanity's journey among the stars would be long, full of challenges, and yet filled with opportunities to prove their worth. But the trials at Lysera Prime had shown one undeniable truth. When humans are underestimated, they shine brightest. One evening, as the twin moons of Lysera Prime rose over the horizon, Alina and the princess stood on a balcony overlooking the palace gardens. The floating lights of the gardens mirrored the stars above, creating an illusion of infinite possibilities. "Captain," Lysera said softly, "will you stay with me? Will you help me learn and guide me?" Alina looked down at the young princess, her heart filled with respect and affection. "Yes, princess, I will stay. We will explore, learn, and face every challenge together. Humans have a way of rising to the impossible, and now so will you." The princess smiled, her small hand resting in Alina's. "I think this is the start of something amazing." Alina nodded, her gaze drifting to the stars beyond Lysera Prime. Humanity had proven its worth, not through brute strength or fear, but through courage, intelligence, empathy, and creativity. The galaxy had underestimated them for too long, but now humans were seen for what they truly were: extraordinary. As the palace lights glimmered and the moons reflected in the crystal towers, Alina felt a deep sense of purpose. The universe was vast, full of unknown challenges, but humans had shown they could rise to any occasion. One human had changed the perception of an entire civilization, and together with Princess Lysera, Alina knew that the story of humanity among the stars was just beginning. The galaxy would remember the day the alien princess pointed at a human and declared, "I want this one." It was a small moment, but one that would echo for centuries. A moment that proved once and for all that humanity was a species to be reckoned with. And in that shining truth, the humans, the princess, and the Glathar alike saw the limitless potential of courage, ingenuity, and the heart of a human being.